Welcome back, guys, to another episode of the Harbor Podcast. I'm your host, the Kino Cowboy. Yoink, putting that down. All right, with me, I got my boy Sam, the fast and furious expert. And then we got Mr. Fatherly. What's up, man? First time on the podcast, right?
Hi. Yeah. Glad to be here.
Yeah. All right, boys. We're talking about Fast 9, F9, Fast and Furious 9, the Fast and the Furious 9, whatever you want to call it. Who knows anymore?
The fast saga.
The Fast Saga. A
the
so-
ninth the ninth episodic entry
yeah.
in the fast saga.
Yeah, dude. The a Dom Toretto story. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. So I want to talk a little bit about how we came to the franchise. I'll start. Back in 2018, 2019, I was just like on a binge of like watching different movie series. I was like, okay, I watched all the Godzilla movies I'd never seen, plus the ones I had seen and rewatched. So I was like, well, I can do this for more franchises. So I did Friday the 13th. I was like, okay. And then I did
You did part of that one with me.
yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
And then I went on and did the Mission Impossibles, which was easy because it was only 5, and then went and watched the 6th one. And then I watched the first 8 Fast and the Furious movies in a week before Hobbs and Shaw came out. And I was like, whew. And they were more fun than I expected. And I'm also a fan of series that escalate and get crazier per entry, whether it's a show or a movie. And so like by the time we got to the 7th one, and they're flying fucking cars out of a skyscraper into another skyscraper, I was like, okay, this is the shit.
This is peak just absurd action Kino.
Yeah. So I'm all aboard on this one. And then Hobbs and Shaw came out, and it was like, I guess because I'd like watched all of them so quickly, I was like burnt out by the time I got to that one. I was like, whatever. That was fun to watch, but it's whatever. But I had time to rest in time for this one, and this one went balls to the wall. Anyway, so Sam, how'd you come to this franchise?
For me personally, I don't remember if it was like I saw the first one after it came out or not, but I know when Tokyo Drift came out, I had seen it, like not theatrically. Like theatrically, I've only seen 7, 8, Hobbs and Shaw, and 9. But after Tokyo Drift had come out, I've seen the first 3, so that was like in my conscious. And then I was getting like heavy into like the Paul Walker movies in like 2015, like Brick Mansions and Joyride and some of his earlier stuff, Blue Crush, and I was really like digging Paul Walker. And then like I heard about his death, and like that, like it fucking hit me because I've lost friends in car crashes, and we went to school with people who passed away to similar circumstances. So it really hit me. So when Furious 7 was coming out in theaters, I was like, I haven't watched 4, 5, or 6, so I bought this at Walmart. Oh no, you can. There you go.
Oh yeah,
the little wheel.
That's
and
awesome.
It has the first 6 films in it, and I was like, oh, this is gonna be good. I've seen the first 3 several times, Tokyo Drift especially, and so I was like, we'll just watch all these before 7 comes out. And then I fell in love with 7, and since then, just been watching 8, Hobbs and Shaw, and 9 when they came out. So
yeah. Okay. What about you? Should I call
Well,
you Alex, or should I call you MF or Mr. Fatherly?
MF
you can call me Alex, Mr. Fatherly, whatever.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah,
let's hear about your unique perspective.
Okay. Unique. That's a good term. So I'm gonna be very honest. I've only before I saw Fast 9, I only saw 1 through 3.
He's a true Street Racer trilogy fan.
Yeah. So that I thought that would be a fun angle to have on the podcast too, because it's like, whoa.
Yeah. So someone that's seen him like from their earliest conveniences to you, where you've seen him, only recently, to Fatherly, who's only seen a third of them.
Yeah. Exactly. Well, it's like I remember, dude, there was like people online talking about like there's certain people that their first Marvel movie was Endgame. I was like,
It's-
what the hell are
it's
you
just-
doing?
No.
I don't get it, man.
Can you imagine going into Endgame not seeing anything? Like,
No.
it's
You're like-
insane.
26 movies into late. I mean,
There's just so much lore and complexity. Like, I mean, even if you read the comics, you'd still not know
Yeah.
everything.
exactly.
It's wild. And
is.
And that reminds me because like I was talking with Alec. Alec called me last night, and he was like, "Hey, what are you doing?" I was like, "Oh, I just saw Fast 9 again." He's like, "Do you think I should see it?" I was like, "Have you seen any of them?" He's like, "No, but I think I'll enjoy it." I was like, "You won't." It's like you'll just sit there like,
yeah, yeah, dude, your eyes would like glaze over. Because I invited him to go with us, but he was like, I haven't seen any of them. I was like, that's a fair point.
yeah.
But
Yeah.
And then you have Fatherly, who's like, "Yeah, I'll go."
hey, at least he's seen Tokyo Drift, which
The
Tokyo
only one that
Drift,
matters.
Tokyo Drift was the one everyone talked about in middle school. But back in middle
Oh,
school,
yeah.
I was just like, I'm gonna watch some dumb car movie because I had no self awareness back then, But
Yeah.
then you like,
It was probably me back in middle school telling
Yeah.
you to watch it.
So, in terms of my history with Fast and the Furious, I remember seeing posters like for the old ones or the older ones back when we had the one that was right by Hobby Lobby. You remember that theater?
Yeah. The
Oh,
old
yeah.
one, the
It's now
Cinema
Planet-
6 or whatever.
Or Carmike Cinemas.
Yeah.
Yeah, and now it's a Planet Fitness.
yeah,
But yeah, I remember seeing posters. I think it was either for the third. It wasn't for Tokyo Drift. It was either Fast Four. Yeah, I think it was the fourth one or
it
so.
would have had to be. Yeah,
Yeah, so because that's when I would have remembered it. But
I like that theater better than the other one back when we had two theaters.
Yeah. I don't know. I mean, I went to both like as often
Yeah.
as each other. I always
Oh,
like when like the old town center one was like had like the little square and the tree and everything and the posters around. Like,
Yeah, I get that.
It
was
but, like,
it was much more like
it
I don't know,
wasn't
just
as
felt
like, I don't know.
it was
it just
just
felt better to me. Dude, we saw War of the Worlds 2005 at the Carmike Theater, and the sound was messed up the entire time. It was like delayed and then like ahead. We got a refund from the theater, and my dad was like, "We're never going back there." So I went to the other one more often.
yeah.
Like
Yeah.
I won't forget my dad being so upset paying for a whole family of 4 in 2005 to go see that movie, and then he was just like, "No, we're not coming back here." I was like, "Okay."
So I remember we saw Narnia for the second time. Actually, the first time I had seen it with with us. I don't know. No, you were still.
Y'all went on a field trip?
Yeah, we went on a field trip. We saw
Oh, wow.
The Witch in the Wardrobe. We saw it at the rave. We still call it the rave. So
Yeah.
Everyone
Yes.
still calls it the rave.
yeah, it's still the rave to me. But yeah, we saw it there, and then we went back and saw it at Carmike Cinemas at the one that we used to see it at.
Dude, I remember Adrian, do you remember we saw Drag Me to Hell at the Carmike, I think?
I wasn't there.
No, that wasn't you.
Nah. I didn't see that
uh,
movie until I watched it at your house
Oh,
like 2 years
okay.
ago.
I
But
saw.
what about Transformers? We saw like the
Yeah.
Transformers
We
movies
saw
there.
Revenge
yeah.
of the Fallen, yeah,
Yeah.
and the first one.
Saw Knowing.
Oh, man. Don't bring that movie up.
It was so loud.
Knowing podcast win.
That movie, I hated that movie as a kid because it scared me because I had like a bunch of existential dread that was bubbling under the surface that I didn't know how to deal with.
We should do a Nick Cage podcast, the best and
Hey,
the worst.
there we go.
Talk about Mandy.
Okay, but getting off topic.
Yeah, I'm sorry.
Yeah,
We're
off
off the
topic.
rails here. Sorry.
What were we-
Just like Fast 9. Just
Okay,
off the
okay,
rails.
So I think I started watching the first three Fast movies after Furious 7 everybody was talking about it. I was going like, okay, I need to start I need to start watching these movies. And
I
Go
think
ahead.
that's when it entered like even bigger public mainstream because
Yeah.
of Paul Walker's death and everything. Everyone was like, and then the song "See You Again," like
Oh yeah.
it just just went in.
yeah, so I think I tried to watch I tried to watch them all, and I ended up only doing 1 through 3. I enjoyed the third one a lot. Like
Yeah.
the Tokyo Drift definitely has a lot of interesting, like just the way they race. I mean, the way they
Tokyo
drift.
Drift is like almost like a slice of life anime.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And the way that it captures like the mid 2000s like really well. I
Yeah.
like
It's literally like Akira meets Initial D. Like it's just dope.
well, I wouldn't go that far, but yeah.
No, not that far, but
I wouldn't have known what you were talking about back then either.
yeah.
Yeah.
Now I do.
But like Tokyo Drift just has like the best color palette, the best use of lights, and like one of the better soundtracks. Like I don't think the Fast
Yeah.
movies, I don't think the Fast movies have great soundtracks past the first three. Like I listen to the
Yeah.
seventh soundtrack a lot because I have the disc, but like the first three, like in the first two alone, anytime they're racing, it's like these heavy metal, just like rock, just really fast songs. And then when Vin Diesel started producing them and like the later ones, it goes to like this more, you know, Latin American flair, which, you know, is great to bring into the conscience. And then you get like the later three and they're like more rap centered, but like it's just something about like the first three, they go from like street racing to like rap music and hip hop. And then like when it's super serious, there's like some grunge metal playing. I'm like, all right, this is just wild.
It's just a mix of crazy shit. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, dude. I may have not had seen Tokyo Drift when I was in middle school, but like I had heard a lot of the songs from it because everyone was playing them. Especially obviously Teriyaki Boys, but also that song 6 Days. That song
Yeah.
is the shit.
It's even in the soundtrack for Furious 7, and I'm like, I love the song, man.
I
It's
love
so
that
good.
song,
Like
dude.
the opening sequence, like I Snapchatted it to you, like the opening sequence
Yeah.
for Tokyo Drift with 6 Days playing
Yeah.
while he's like entering the school and everything.
Yeah. So, but
And
yeah,
that guy
it was, go ahead.
No, I was just what's his name? Lucas Black.
Yeah.
Lucas Black.
He does not look like a teenager.
Dude, he's got 5 o'clock shadow throughout all of Tokyo Drift. Like no one in that movie
Yeah.
looks like a kid.
And what's funnier is when he shows back up a few movies later
And he looks
for
like
like a
he's 40.
cameo, and he looks 40, and he's supposed to be the same age.
Yeah.
It's so
I
funny.
know.
Like I think it's funny
Yeah.
now when he shows back up in Fast 9 and he looks older than literally everyone else.
Oh yeah. I was like, I barely recognized him at first when I saw him. I was going like, that's Lucas Black.
My biggest surprise change was seeing how Bow Wow. Like Bow Wow is like
Yeah.
he's not Gucci Bougie anymore. He's just, you know, I was like, that's like an actual
Yeah.
realistic age up. Like dude just looks happy and full of life, you know?
Yeah.
So
So yeah, let's get straight into it, man. Fast 9. Stakes are higher than ever. I think.
maybe
There's
something
a lot
about
of
family.
this movie
Yeah.
is borderline experimental.
Oh yeah.
It's post-human cinema.
yeah, it's post-human cinema for sure, because like no other franchise has like tried to do all these different things it's trying to do at once.
Mm-hmm.
Like retcon certain characters, bring in other storylines, like, oh, let's have this villain of the last a few movies ago be like kind of the villain in this one in the background, and like she's talking to John Cena and his crony, and like it's just like, what are you trying to do here? You're trying to do like a million things.
I think for me, what I've noticed most is people really picked up on like some of the earlier ones trying to be like Mad Max Fury Road, you know? And then I think now Universal is just like, well, we failed with the Dark Universe, so let's just put all we've got into the Fast and Furious universe. So they're like pulling stuff from like the MCU, they're pulling stuff from Star Wars, and they're just like, they're just going for it, man. They're just
they go to space. That's the biggest thing.
Oh,
They take it
yeah.
there. They take it to space, which is
they've made
hilarious.
They made
is
two
so
$2 billion
hilarious.
movies, and so they're like, you know, we're just gonna put all of our eggs in our basket
Screw
here.
it. We're going to space.
Yeah. So we got it. And then Vin Diesel in this movie is basically Captain America. You could call this Captain America 4 if you wanted, because it's so ridiculous.
You mean Captain Dominican Republic?
Yeah. Because like Vin Diesel in this one is like, there's one
god.
point where he's pulling down concrete with his bare hands with like chains, and he's
Yeah, dude.
like punching and like killing people in like one hit, and like taking on like 12 dudes. Like it's
Yeah.
insane.
I wanted to touch on that sequence anyway, because besides the sequence where they're in outer space being just like it's absurd and beautiful at the same time, like with
Yeah.
the cinematography, like when they
Yeah.
crash into the satellite, the cinematography is just great, like the CGI and all that stuff. But the sequence where he just goes full like ape shit and just kills everyone in that bunker, and then he like drowns and starts hallucinating and remembering his past. And like,
Yeah.
I don't want to say esoteric, but it's like really like the most where they've thought like, let's just think, let's like visualize thoughts. And I've like you never see that in a Fast and Furious
Yeah.
movie.
Yeah.
Like
Well,
Vin Diesel's literally walking as his present day self, viewing his past, and I'm like, this is
I have to hand
they're
it to
trying
them. They're
something
trying
there.
to be more creative. That's cool. I was
Yeah.
like surprised by that too. And I was happy to see that there was an emotional core to this movie. Obviously, they realized they were getting away from that a bit. You can't just talk about family and that be it. Instead, in this film, it takes us back to Dom's past, a la Godfather 2, and shows his relationship with his dad and his white brother that he somehow has.
Well,
And
his family's a mixed breed because after
I
the loss
know,
of after the loss of his mom, his dad's like, I'm a Toretto, so
I know. It's just like,
yeah,
wow, you look just like your brother. I'm like, not really.
yeah, when Queenie says that, like
Yeah.
they're about the same height and they're both muscle raged freaks, and that's like it.
It was a great choice to use that untapped potential of his past to bring
Yeah.
that to the forefront. It's like,
Yeah.
okay, we need,
I
more
really
creative
like
drive.
I like what they did in 8 and 9 with like identity and family. Like
Yeah.
your place in your family, because in 8 Toretto literally sacrificed everything, like his entire, made up, well not made up, but like, you pick your family. But he's like, I have a son now, so like fuck you guys, I'm going to do what I can for my
Yeah.
son.
Right.
And then 9's like, yeah, you have a brother, you know.
Yeah. And
Yeah.
so, that's interesting.
It's just interesting from my perspective of only seeing the first one and then going all the way to 9. Just it started out as a street racing type of franchise,
Mhm.
and now it's going balls to the wall, like one on top of the other. And I was
Full
going like,
nuts to butts.
I thought this was supposed to be street racing. No, it's not.
Now, to be fair, I was actually surprised there was a street racing scene in this movie.
Yeah,
I was
that-
not
that
was-
expecting that.
Albeit in a
Yeah.
2 flashbacks.
After like 4 or 5 movies, or if you count Hobbs and Shaw, no street races at all, and just like one's a heist and like this
Yeah,
and that.
action
It's like,
races.
Right.
I'm glad I didn't bet money on it because I would have lost. But
No,
there is a
like-
street race.
Yeah, I was gonna say there's got to be something like that because like another thing I thought of is like if you think about it, they've been wanting to tell like uh all inclusive everyone comes back story since the 5th one, because when you watch the 5th one, like there's so many highlights to the previous 4. Even in the final credits to 5, they're showing their younger selves when they first met to their current selves, and you can tell that's the first one where they're like, we're bringing back everyone. And then I don't know if they would have done it again had Paul Walker not passed, because
Yeah.
after he passed, like
Mhm.
Vin Diesel as producer and big money man for the franchise is like, no one's ever going to die again, and we're all going to be together again. So like, it's just
Yeah.
like bringing in everyone and just keeping everyone there.
But do you feel like it cheapens some of the things that have happened?
Oh yeah,
Yeah.
it definitely, like we
Mhm.
talked about it yesterday, but everything with Han, like it like to bring Han back in F9 invalidates his death in Tokyo Drift in 6. It invalidates everything with both Shaw brothers too, because
Which is surprising because Justin Lin came back to direct this one, and he directed 3
4
through
previous ones.
Yeah,
3
3.
through he did 4, 5, 6, and yeah.
Yeah. And so like obviously since he made Tokyo Drift, he's got a special spot in his heart for it.
For Han.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, so I get wanting to bring Han back, but like what's
But
the
he
point of
also
all the
killed
shit that happened then?
He also killed Han off himself in 6
I know,
and
but
3.
like and 3, yeah. But it's just like if they're gonna bring him back, he better have a good function and role in the final 2 installments, or else it'll be stupid.
Yeah. Because
Is
people
like,
were already like, if you read online, people are already talking about how Han's character is completely not faithful to who he would be in 3, and what we saw in 4 and 5. He's like, no, I'm
yeah,
just a government agent for nobody. And nobody, like, they could make it better if nobody talks about how he was already looking into recruiting Toretto, like how building Han from after Giselle's death would bring him back to the family. But the way they presented in 9 is like, no, you're just gonna work for me now. And Han's like, oh, that's okay, that's fine. you know?
it's weird.
Yeah.
Especially the amount of like shit they had to explain exposition wise in the movie just to be like, he's back.
Han's back. Like that's why I said that's why I've always thought, like, especially these latter movies, that it's kind of like meddling in the middle. Like it's not as grounded as like a high spy stuff as like the James Bond movies, but it's
Mhm.
also not like high concept fantasy science fiction stuff like Marvel or Star Wars. It's like
Right.
and like we talked about like stakes and like stuff, like you don't ever feel like they're in danger because they're not, like everything after everything you've seen, they're basically invincible, which they talk about in the movie.
Which was surprised the fuck out of me that they
Yeah.
legitimately just like laid that on the table as like a meta joke
Yeah.
that started as like
And
a
it
joke
goes on
scene,
the
and
whole
then and like
time.
it like climaxes when they're actually in space, which I did not expect that. And it's kind of brilliant. It's I can't tell if, I don't know, it might be too meta, but also like I'm glad that they acknowledged, he's like, man, I got bullet holes in my jacket, like
He
I
he
have
had
no
bullet holes
scratches. Yeah,
literally where he didn't
I'm
have
like,
an
yeah,
armor vest.
I feel like
Like,
it's
how do you get that without
it's
being shot?
I'm split because like I feel
Yeah.
like, no, that's a little too self-aware, but then part of me is like, oh well, I'm glad they acknowledge it, so I don't really
I
know how to feel.
I've been reading up on it, and like, from like critics' point of views and fans, from like diehard fans to just soft fans, and it's just like, either they're taking the mick out of us, or they're trying to do something. It's kind of like the middle too,
Yeah,
like you said. It's
now
like, are they
yeah,
making fun of us because we're looking too much into the movies, or
yeah, if they
you
if
know,
they like, now if they have the balls and go like full on like end of Evangelion but with Fast and Furious, and like have shots of us watching the movie or like them like escaping like a
yeah.
simulation or something, but that's not going to happen because
Well, it
that's
could.
ridiculous.
That's
Now if
Who
they,
that's
knows what nobody really is doing.
that's
if
when I say we've gone too far as a society.
no,
Yeah.
if if the
Nobody, no,
final,
no. 10 and 11 is about nobody telling them they've got to stop the child from falling into Harambe's like encounter. They're like, you have to go back to 2013.
now no, if the final film is about them escaping like the simulation or something, I would shit my fucking ass.
Like,
No,
oh,
or
it's funny
time
that
travel, god.
yeah. Well, it's funny also that we were talking about like how it's broken down, because they're broken down into 3 different trilogies. The first 3 you have like, minor crime, like underworlds type stuff with street races, and it's all on like home soil. The 4 through 6 you have like the DA cartel drug trade spy, or not spy stuff, but that, you know
On the
and
run, dealing with
yeah,
like people
Yeah.
after you and stuff.
in a foreign land. And
Yeah,
then 7 through 9 is just worldwide, doomsday level, spy
like
stuff.
James Bond shit.
Yeah,
Yeah, it's
but
crazy.
it follows a pattern. There's
It's true.
3 each time. And even if Tokyo Drift, because the first 3 are, it's almost episodic, because you have Dom and Brian in the first one, you have just Brian in the second one, and then you have just Sean Boswell in the third one.
Mhm.
It was almost an episodic series until they were like, bring Dom back, bring
Yeah.
put them back together.
Yeah.
And so it makes you think, with they're only doing 2 more, you have to think, like, are they going, like you said, are they going further,
Yeah,
like
these
what's
yeah,
after worldwide doomsday threats? You've done it
yeah,
3
for
times
real. Like
now.
what,
You've taken God's Eye and turned it into Project Ares. What's after that?
Yeah.
how can you go any possibly further? And like there's these final 2 are, I think they're billing it as like probably like
Part 1 and
part 1
part
and part 2
2.
because they're
Yeah.
filming them back to back.
Hmm.
So it's probably going to be some grand spectacle thing, you know.
And everyone's back.
It's gonna be
Uh,
like it's gonna be like Endgame, basically.
Yeah.
I
Like
mean,
I was thinking earlier I was thinking that as Jason Statham's Deckard Shaw is kind of like the Thanos of post-credit scenes for the Fast and
yeah.
Furious movies, because he like shows up at the post-credit scene of 6 killing Han, and he shows up at the post-credit scene of 9 and Han's like, I'm back. I'm like, all right.
Yeah.
But
How is
like
Shaw?
again, like
Yeah.
no one's truly like bad until they're like, I'm gonna kill everyone on the planet. Like
Like,
you're like you're fine once you've
why?
killed like
Like,
my friends and everything.
watching this
Like
movie and how it had to do with the backstory and how Dom Toretto is, I knew thematically that his brother would not be fully like evil by the end, you know.
Yeah.
no,
Like,
like I went and saw it with my stepdad and my mom the first time, and because I had marathon like all of them before, like I've watched literally 24 hours worth of Fast and Furious movies in like the last week alone, and I don't know how to do anything else. Like I come home and I think about it. I've been trying to play video games. And I'm like, I could play Need for Speed, because I'm not going to play the Fast and Furious video games.
yeah.
But I was just like, and then like last night I was rewatching after I saw Fast Nine a second time. I was rewatching Hobbs and Shaw, and I'm like, what can I watch after this? Tokyo Drift? I'm like, no, stop, stop, stop. But
Take a break. Damn.
Take a break.
but
Put it down.
going into Fast Nine the first time, I've had this note written in my phone about just everything that happens, like the formula and the expectations. And I was like, oh yeah, it's family. So at the end, Dom's gonna be like, well, Jacob, your family, you're free to go. And then it just happened exactly like that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because like, now I didn't expect Cypher to just randomly turn on him. He's like, oh, we don't need you anymore. You're a liability because your family's causing me trouble. But that makes you wonder, like 2 and 10 and 11, if John Cena's going to be back.
Oh, I'm sure he will be.
Oh yeah.
I don't know. Like they're making so much money. Like how much are they paying everyone to be in these?
The real question is, what was really missing from this movie that
was Sean
The
Boswell
Rock.
driving.
no, the Rock's character, which was one of my favorite parts of the later movies.
Yeah.
Because him and Vin Diesel have beef or whatever. I'm wondering if
Yeah.
they'll work. Are they going to work it out in time for the last 2 movies?
I genuinely think that money can solve all problems. Well, in movies. So, yeah, if you offer The Rock enough money, he's already the highest paid actor in Hollywood. So
The Rock, he's not even one of my favorite actors, but for some reason,
he's
really
still
like
a better
him in
actor
these.
than Vin Diesel.
Yeah.
Yeah, probably.
Vin
You know-
Diesel, like
What?
I was reading again, like with Fast Nine, they're like, some reviewers were saying like, yeah, it's all about family. But even in the moments where they're just talking to each other, it feels like none of the people have ever like actually been family. It's just like all the acting, it can just come across as wooden or stilted.
Yeah, sometimes. Yeah.
Yeah.
Sometimes like
I
the
don't-
stuff with Roman and Tej, like no, they're good. Like they ping off each other so well. But like some of the other stuff, like when you're trying to get Letty and Dom to like look like they actually care for each other.
Yeah. Well, man, that's
Like,
because Brian, Paul Walker brought so much chemistry
Yeah,
to.
he was literally the heart and soul of the
It's
franchise.
sorely missing in these later movies.
Yeah,
but
that's
I
why
could
that's-
still get on without it, but it's
That's why it was saved with The Rock though in the later ones.
Yeah.
Like because The Rock has so much chemistry being, from his wrestling background. Like he knows how
Yeah.
to carry something, And
Yeah.
Vin Diesel has an extent and extreme to his acting. I like Vin Diesel, but like, those like where they try to pull like high emotion and high drama from scenes. This is like,
Yeah, but it's all tongue in cheek anyway, so I'm able.
Yeah,
to
that's
get
the thing.
past
Like
it, yeah.
we're already doing too much to analyze and dissect a film that doesn't need to be dissected like this.
Oh, it does. Let's
Um,
talk about
for-
some of the
for future
major
references.
Let's talk about some of the major action set pieces. Let's like the first one where they're driving over the landmines and stuff.
Yeah, and
The
just
f-
how
'cause the first-
miraculously none of them go off on them.
Yeah, like the first like 10 minutes of the movie, I was like, okay, well, hopefully my brain isn't gonna check out too hard. And then as soon as I realized they were about to drive over landmines, I like sat up in my seat. I was like, "Oh, okay, here we go. No,
Peligros Minas. What
this
does
is
it
a
mean?
interesting, yeah." Um, the jungle chase pretty good, I'd say. Um,
We
The
can.
the, br- the
huh?
bridge scene I thought was wow. I mean, I thought like I don't know. What was your opinion on the bridge? I want to get your guys' opinion first.
What
I
bridge scene?
the
What
bridge
part?
scene where Dom catches like the rope
Yeah.
and swings his car
Oh
across.
my
Yeah.
god!
I legitimately like when I saw it in the trailer, it's like, oh, fine, the car is gonna land just and keep going. But when they wreck the car, literally and just smashes it and just keeps rolling, I'm like, they've got to be dead. But then you have to remember they have like I don't know
Yeah,
what
they're
kind of armor on
superheroes. Yeah.
their roll cages. Those are the best roll cages in the entire like existence of anything.
It's plot armor. I mean,
Literally,
The
literally, the vehicles are plot
that
armor.
I didn't see that scene until I watched it in the movie, so I was
No.
like, my
Or
mouth was like open.
we
I
could talk
s-
about how Jacob hits Letty with a car, knocking her off the motorcycle, and she catches him. Like Dom catches her on you know, on his car hood, which is like similar to what they did in 6 on the double bridge, where Dom literally drives across the bridge. He jumps up, or well, no, he jumps out of his car, catches her over the bridge, and the car breaks their fall. And she literally says right after that, "How'd you know the car was going to be there to catch our fall?" I'm like, it's a fucking car. Like that's gonna hurt you,
You should
right?
have broken a bone or something, at least a limb or a shoulder. I
But at
mean,
most,
Yeah, dude. If Dom would just like break a bone here and there every movie, every couple movies, it'd be like better. This movie, to me, I feel like it was an experiment to see f- just how
we would
far
take it.
you can suspend your disbelief, and if
Oh,
you're
it's still.
willing to suspend your disbelief this far.
I'll still say this. It's easier to suspend my disbelief in movies like this than it is like The Purge, where like one died of crime is legal all year, and everyone just goes straight to murdering people. Like that's so fucking stupid. And I watch a lot of movies for violence sake, but Purge movies and stuff like that, like, come on now.
yeah,
Like I can believe this more than I can believe
Well,
everyone in
yeah,
the whole world would just go straight to murdering people.
yeah. I don't know. It just there was a little bit of absurdity. I thought the
A
way they
little
were
bit.
the
a
way they were
little.
a little. That's an understatement. The way they were fighting just other people, it just felt like it was Marvel levels of fighting. I mean, like
It's an Avengers level threat.
It
Avengers level.
literally felt like I was watching an Avengers kind of movie.
Yeah.
I was like, man, like
But
the
it's
influence is strong
but it
from
still comes
Marvel.
from it still has its own background that somehow they're still able to faithfully pull from, that
Yeah,
it
Yeah.
feels unique
Vin,
enough.
unless in the next one they show Vin Diesel taking the super serum, it's gonna be hard to believe any of it.
That's what Mr. Nobody is. He's just like secretly working for, Shield or whatever.
Yeah.
It's like it's always been the Fast and the Furious movies have always been a spin-off of Marvel. They just Universal somehow made a backhand deal and just
Yeah.
they're not going to
Yeah,
tell us about it because
Mr.
In the final movie, Samuel L. Jackson walks out and he's like, "Well,
No,
we
I was
have
gonna.
something for you here."
That's what Mr. Nobody is. He's Sam Jackson's. He's Nick Fury's granddad, or something.
oh yeah, wait, isn't Mr. Nobody played by Kurt Russell?
Yep.
Yeah.
So technically he would be Ego. He's
Yeah.
Ego if he
Oh.
survived Guardians 2.
I
And
was I was having fun watching Fast 9 and seeing all the people that were gonna, ultimately be in Suicide Squad, because you have Michael Rooker in like 2
Oh
scenes and then
yeah.
John
yeah, I saw
Cena,
that.
and I'm like, all right, yeah, let's it was just getting me more amped for Suicide Squad. So
Now hang
John,
on. What? I
oh,
was gonna
John,
say
yeah.
if maybe Ego made his own planet identical to Earth 616 and he used it for
fast races.
to create his own heroes, and that's the fast. Yeah.
Well, I'm just, we talked about it. I think me and you, Adrian. I'm just ready for like the crossover with Jurassic World, since we're never gonna get Men in Black and 21 Jump Street. Like, I
No,
just
that's
want
not happening.
I just want, I'm ready for this crossover because the as flimsy the explanation will be is that Chris Pratt's character grew up in East LA too, and he used to race cars. And once at the end of Jurassic World 2, the dinosaurs, they're on the whole planet now because it's finally a Jurassic World. And so he's just gonna call up Toretto and be like, "Hey brother, I know you went to space. Can you help with these dinosaurs?"
Like, I got you, man.
and
I've known you
Toretto
since
just
1996.
yeah,
Like,
Toretto's
oh,
just
okay.
like he's just like your family.
Oh,
And then
yeah.
I joked about this with someone else last night. Nobody sends them back in time to stop the dinosaurs because so they don't ever have to remake the dinosaurs in Jurassic World. And so at some point Toretto drives his Hellcat up a T-Rex and hits the meteorite that killed the dinosaurs, and it just goes back in outer space.
Now that sounds like a stupid YouTube video.
No,
Right. Not a Fast and Furious movie. What's the
Okay.
difference?
So the way you approach that, it's just now for some weird reason I had the Super Mario Brothers movie in my head.
Oh no.
Because the meteorite was the one that created this alternate dimension. and
Yeah.
stuff.
Dude, yes.
I was just thinking about
now
what
we're
the
cooking.
Koopas look like in that
What-
movie.
if Dom Toretto basically crashed into the meteorite, so does he get reincarnated as Groot? I mean, does it create a dimension where he's both Groot and Dom Toretto?
No, yeah. What we need is like a movie where like
What about Venomized Dominic Toretto?
we need a movie where it's like it exists in the world where kind of like the dude from like the Matrix sequels who has like all the TVs in the background and shit. But these are all different movie universes.
You mean just
And-
the TVA from Loki?
Yeah. But he works for like basically the god of like content, and it's like super gross, and like now they're crossing over Star Wars with like Fast and the Furious and Marvel and Alien, and it's just to make money. Like how far is the future gonna go with this?
This is what happens after Disney buys every property.
Yeah.
To just keep the licensing and keep the rights.
Fast and the
He's a
Furious
monster.
Fast and the Furious 11 is going to start with like a car going down the road, and inside the road in the car is like Dom Toretto, Ray Skywalker, and like Bugs Bunny,
Cowboy and Woody and
yeah, Woody and Buzz, yeah,
just in the back.
and it's just going to be like this is what movies are now. Like, sorry, we've run out of ideas so hard that we're just going to cross over everything.
I mean, I'd be here for it. Like, it would just be
In
so
a
bombastic
dark,
and absurd.
disgusting late capitalist way. Yeah, maybe.
Where
like
you
that
only
kind of
you
level.
only have Disney and A24.
Nothing
A24
in
is just
between.
popping out. They're just popping out their independent movies, no
This is gonna-
sequels,
This
nothing.
is gonna be an old meme, but only certain people are gonna get this. But I'm thinking in my head, crossovers galore.
Dude,
No?
it's
Waiting
scary.
for the comments on the YouTube video that are going to recognize that.
No, I mean I don't know. It's just
So
Oh,
what?
I don't know. I want to talk about how something that I'm not sure if y'all know this or not, but every Fast and Furious climax fight scene since the sixth one has ended with Dominic Toretto crashing his vehicle into another vehicle and then walking through a fire.
Oh my god.
Like that was another thing I was hinging my bets on in this one, because in the sixth one you have him, they're crashing the plane and he wrecks his car out of the plane and they're like, oh no, Toretto's dead. He killed Owen Shaw. And then in the seventh one, he takes down the helicopter, driving it off the car park. This one. And then 8 is the submarine, and then in this one it's the drone. Like,
And like
just
the way he like lands.
the
and,
way
like,
he
the
lands
fire's,
after
like,
the
all
drone and
around
he
him,
rolls
I'm
over
like,
backwards.
This is
Yeah.
insane.
It's not as insane as the end of Fate, though, where after the submarine explodes, like the cars like close around Toretto while he's just sitting there like this, and the fire is like everywhere. That's the true, like, even after he killed like all those dudes in 9, I think that was like the most absurd superhero shot Toretto ever got. He's just sitting there on the ice, and the ice
it's
isn't melting or
masturbatory.
anything.
Like
Yeah.
Vin Diesel planning this shit out is like jerking himself off. Like it's
like
nuts.
Gasper Noé, how he treats himself in his films. Vin Diesel's just on the lighthearted family side of the same complex.
It's like
Yeah.
Well,
what?
it's like with Tom Cruise producing and being able to do all the stunts in the Mission Impossible movies. They're just glorified roles for him.
Yeah,
It's
no,
just Vin
that's
Diesel
how
doing the same
that's
thing.
how they take it to the next level. Is like in the
Oh,
next one,
no.
all the stunts are real.
Oh yeah.
That's technically true.
Maybe Johnny Knoxville will be in the next one.
Yeah, maybe.
Oh.
I mean, are y'all ready for October where we have like the French Dispatch and
Last Night in
Jackass 4,
Soho and
Last Night
Jackass
and
4
Dune
and Dune all in the
all
same.
in the same day.
Oh wow, that's cinema.
I'm
I
gonna
don't know
spend
why they
like
would
the
do that.
whole. I'm gonna spend the whole weekend at the movies,
I guess so. Yeah.
and then something comes out October 1st. What is it? I can't remember. Oh well.
Past 10 already.
Past it, yeah.
Well,
No,
it's-
but now let's the part in Europe or in not in England was what I was wanting to talk about with like the there's a motif in this movie that involves magnetics and they somehow rig super magnets to their cars and like somehow it doesn't like flip their cars over when they're pulling on heavy objects and it's like okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, you would have really expected it when they were driving the Penske truck and they took Jacob's car into it and then it didn't
Yeah.
flip over.
No, it's just funny how they took that magnet, they used it all throughout the movie, even at the very end.
In space.
I
In
liked it. Yeah, it
space.
was a funny, interesting motif to kind of refresh the action a bit. You
Magnets, how do they
chasing
work?
cars. It's just like imagine you're sitting in a nice little cafe downtown, and suddenly everything inside is like flying through the
Yeah.
wall into
dude,
cars.
That is another thing we've got to talk about throughout the entire franchise. Just the loss of innocent civilians and how no one ever reacts to it. Like you never once in any of the Fast and Furious movies hear like a newscast where they're talking about like the death toll from like whatever the fuck just happened. Like you can't tell me all those like buildings they were going through with the magnets that none of those just like lacerated
Yeah,
someone
for
like
real.
and killed them. Or when they use the telephone wires with the magnets to literally like kill the cops that were chasing them and all the cops were doing were just doing their job.
Dude,
Like those cops weren't under the payroll of Cypher or Jacob or anyone.
yeah.
Like and then but when it gets down to like the main plot points, there's so many times where the family is just like, yeah, but I don't feel like killing you, so you can go. Or like the bad guys, especially in the bunker scene in this one, when they could have just shot dead the entire family, they just take the girl and leave. That's like, come on. But then like you're just sitting in your parked car waiting for your girlfriend to come out of your apartment and then magnet, you know?
Yeah, it's stuff like that. It's like those kind of details are so lazy. They spent, but it's like other aspects of the movie are obviously so intricate,
Very
and
thought out.
detailed. Yeah, real thought out. It's just like stupid shit like that, and so
Yeah.
it's such
That's,
a weird like mix.
That's
of,
what
like,
Justin Lin is best
things.
at. And I thought like prior to Fast 7 or Furious 7, I was like, you know, Justin Lin's the best thing about the Fast and Furious movies. And then I was like, after I saw 8 and 9 again, I was like, maybe he's not, because he knows he
He didn't do
understands
8.
action.
He only did 9.
Oh, I know.
Yeah.
But yeah, F. Gary Gray did 8, which
Yeah.
he did Straight Outta Compton, which is a
It's a good
masterpiece.
movie, yeah.
I love that movie. But it's just like I've lost it. No, I'm not lost it, but it's like
I'm talking about Justin Lin.
yeah, yeah, y'all go ahead. We've been here a while.
What else has Justin Lin done, if I might ask? Like, what has he done besides Fast and the Furious? Is that all he's ever done?
He's played basketball. No, that's Jeremy Lin.
I can't remember what he's done other than Fast and Furious.
No.
He took a break in between 6 and 9. I don't remember what he did during that time. Let me see real quick.
Probably
Okay.
just writing 9. He's been writing it for years. But I think what I was going to say was that Justin Lin understands set piece action. He just understands action, like you know, all the details to like how the world works, but he's not like the best with like when it comes to directing people and emotions and drama and like, you know, stories that you can just tell without like seeing, which is fine. There are a lot of directors like that. You
Yeah.
know,
That's true
like
though.
like Lucas. Lucas couldn't direct people for shit, but he can make, set pieces and just beautiful, beautiful like worlds. And you know, I think Glenn has something to say, or similar.
Yeah. What he did in between Fast 6 and 9 is the third Star Trek movie, Star Trek
Yeah.
Beyond.
Oh, I forgot
Yeah,
about
because there's this
that.
shot where the ships are about to crash into each other, and they do the
Yeah.
arm grabby thing that they do in all the Fast and Furious movies. It's like
I
the
never watched
Justin
that
Lin
one.
shot.
So
It's not as good as the first two.
I liked it.
I mean, I liked it. I didn't say I didn't like it.
I don't
but
like
I
I don't really
loved
like the
I
first
love the
two.
first
So.
one, and I loved Star Trek Into Darkness. Like,
Oh yeah,
Into
'cause, I mean,
Darkness blows.
all right,
the first Star Trek, I think it was influential in me watching the series. So
2009.
the 2009 Star Trek. I mean, I remember everybody was talking about seeing it, and just then, of course, Into Darkness came out, then Star Trek Beyond, and then that's
It just kind of dropped off.
It kind of dropped movie wise, at least series wise. I mean, they're continuing, with Star Trek Enterprise and then Picard.
And Lower
Oh.
Decks,
Mhm.
Dude,
the animated series. I mean, people watch it.
I'm not a Star Trek guy, but I watch so many Star Trek people talk about Wrath of Khan and how it just like does
It's a classic, dude.
Oh, it is
not Wrath of Khan, sorry. The second Abrams movie.
Oh, Jake,
Into Darkness.
In the Darkness, and like how it does a lot of the same hacky shit that the Rise of Skywalker does. So I feel bad for him on that end.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I think there's always something really funny about the original Star Trek movies, like the 10, like before, the
Sure.
Kelvin trilogy, is that
Nemesis.
every odd numbered movie is bad. Every even numbered movie is good. I'm like, how do you like how? Like
That's I don't know. It's like
like you have Contact and
Right. First Contact,
Wrath of Khan, yeah.
Mhm.
Generations and
The Voyage Home.
yeah. All the even numbered ones
See,
are great.
I'm not a Star Trek guy.
But between
so-
those, you have the first one, which is clunky and very
But-
poorly
but-
budgeted, and then Search for Spock, which God,
Is that, which one? Which is the one where they go to the 1980s?
Oh, that's Voyage Home.
Yeah, I enjoyed that one. I remember.
Yeah.
for what it is, I think one of my favorite ones is just Generations, just having all the captains together.
Oh,
But
Yeah. What?
unfortunately, this is not a Star Trek podcast.
Oh,
this
no.
is a Fast and the
Oh, no.
Furious.
X-ray on the Star Trek A.
Because
Fast
just
Furious
like
A.
just like
Crossover win.
like Red Letter Media, dude, that Mike Stacklasa gets fucking he'll talk about Star Trek for like half an episode.
I guess I
So
could. Yeah, I guess I'm Mike or something. Like that.
Can we?
but,
I think I'm crossing off like all the points that
yeah,
I
fair.
wanted to talk about. Can we talk about how Tej is so focused on numbers and physics, but numbers and physics don't mean anything except their own little thing in the Fast and Furious movies? Like, and they're running simulations and stuff. And like when what world would any of this work?
You're just gonna have to wing it like you
Yeah.
always do.
I could at least I sympathize with Roman on that one. Just I wouldn't think shit about that. I mean, I wouldn't think that detailed. But so I'm in his boat. I mean, I was laughing the whole time.
Yeah.
With
Can we
his
talk
scenes.
again about how when we were texting Adrian, we were talking about how I was feeling, they were obviously losing emotion, drama, heart, and everything. And you're like, yeah, but they bring it back a little bit with Dom's brother and his past and everything. But they always like, even for every moment that it seems like they want to get very dramatic and like actually pull on your heartstrings, they don't go through with it. Like, they could have killed off Roman and Tej in outer space, and it would have really meant something. Like, it could have actually sacrificing yourself to save the world, is something that a lot of movies do, and mostly superhero movies do it, and then they're like, oh, we're fine afterwards.
Yeah,
But like,
it's even
like-
this franchise is doing that now.
it quickly, very quickly, like within a minute, invalidated it, because as soon as they run into it, you're like, oh shit, maybe we won't know if they survived until the end. Like, what if they at the end, they're sitting there at the dinner with everyone and they're like mourning the loss of Roman and Tej, and then you have like 20 minutes and then they finally show back up. But no, they crash the Pontiac Fiera into the shuttle, or the satellite, whatever, and they're like, "Woo, it's down!" And then immediately Roman and Tej are like, "We did it." Like they could
Yeah.
have, held that, even if you wanted to say they didn't die in that movie, held it until the end, you know.
Seems
And
like
then
they played it too safe, way too safe.
Everyone, yeah, every big franchise is playing it too safe.
But
Except for, I guess they killed Natasha Romanoff and Tony Stark. That's as ballsy as they got in the Marvel movies.
And
and then they brought them back.
Rogers. It's back Steve Rogers back in time. So
Yeah. But it's just like we want characters to have weight again. Like,
Yeah,
don't
that's what I'm
bring back the
saying.
fucking Emperor for episode 9. It was a
Oh
foolish
my
mistake.
gosh. Oh,
That's what I'm saying
bad,
about this. Like, there's no there's no weight. Like, they try to give you weight and they try to make you feel, and then it's just like, it like,
and it
for
sucks
what it is,
because I've come to expect that in like movies these days, that like I have to remind myself, no, wait, like they need to quit doing this. Like, damn.
Yeah, because we were talking about that. You were like, no, I'm just able to treat it for what it is because I don't like critique it too high because you're like, it is what it is. And we were talking about just us being stupid about it, but like, no, it's like, yeah, like there's just some very basic like structural storytelling and filmmaking elements that even for everything good Fast 9 does, it lacks a lot of other stuff too.
Sure, yeah. Yeah, the chemistry could have been a little bit better between Dom and his sister, and like
yeah, they're acting like
just like
don't
everyone
even
like
know each
together.
other.
It felt like a little like this one felt a little bit in certain scenes like, oh, we're just here to work and make a paycheck. And
Mhm.
other scenes are better than others, but like there were a few scenes where I was like, man, y'all need to like, I think y'all are getting winded a bit on this franchise. Y'all need to like refresh yourselves or something. But still fun.
It seems like they were just trying way too hard to be like other big franchises, I mean, to be fair, I mean, Fast and the Furious is a big franchise, but it just seems like because of certain things that have happened within the past few years or so between
they're following a formula and
Yeah.
expected predicted routes that work for other things. And like, you can't fault them. Like,
No.
I mean, like I've always said, like if I could sell out and make like one movie, but like I had no like creative influence, but it was like a blockbuster and I just lived off of that, I'm like, yeah, sure, it makes money.
There's
You
a
know?
reason,
Like-
yeah, there's a reason like Furious 7 is like one of the highest grossing films out there worldwide.
Yeah, but also like Vin Diesel has money. He
Yeah.
doesn't need any more money.
No.
He just I think
He's
he
doing this
does
for himself and
genuinely,
for
he
Paul
genuinely
to-
likes these movies.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
So like it's not like it's completely soulless, but like I think
No.
he does need to like maybe take a step back and like reassess some things,
They-
since there's 9 of them now.
I was reading, I think it was Chris Morgan. This is like the first Fast and Furious movie he hasn't written in like
Yeah.
a while. So like the weaker structural points and like emotional value between the characters is kind of weakened because it was just Justin Lin and some other guy writing it.
Some
you
other
know?
dudes, yeah.
So
I'm curious to see who's gonna write the final 2 installments.
maybe we could get the guys that did like the Lego movies to
Lord
write.
and Miller?
Yeah,
Lord and
I
Miller.
don't know why not.
No.
Why not?
Or-
They would make it a little too ape shit, I think.
Yeah, as more as it
And
already is.
not in a good way. Yeah.
or they get the guys that wrote Endgame, Stephen McFeely, and who's the other guy? I know these guys by heart, but most
they're in.
Well, yeah, I guess they would know how to end a franchise.
they know how to write big movies.
We have
It's
the
like,
Russo brothers direct the last 2.
Oh my god, that'd be
mm,
insane.
That's
I mean,
yeah.
people didn't like Cherry, so maybe they could,
Yeah,
bring the
come
fans
back. Yeah,
back.
maybe they need to stick to big blockbusters. Who knows?
I don't know. Yeah, I've kind of curious myself how the Russo brothers were. What were they going to do right after Endgame? I mean, how do you top that? So
in game part 2.
Yeah.
Yeah, if I was directing Endgame and Infinity War back to back and like spend like 5-6 years like crafting these, I would want to
I'd
take a fucking break,
yeah.
man. Like not
Exactly.
just immediately. I get the appeal of wanting to direct a small feature like that afterwards, but like, dude, like sit back for a minute.
Which is, I think, what they were trying to do. They originally said, I saw in an interview that they were going to just take it back. They may not direct any Marvel movies for a while.
Yeah.
So
That's
I think
fine.
a lot of
That's
people
very
They did their service.
They did do their service. They earned it to direct Avengers, Infinity War, and Endgame.
I think
So-
Justin Lin is doing the final two also.
Yeah,
I think
probably so.
yeah, I'm pretty
Makes
sure I
sense.
read that. So, you know, it makes sense he's done most of them anyway.
Yeah.
It's a safe bet. I just want
We
them to bring in some writers that to shake things up a little bit.
yeah, we should talk about how we talked earlier about how Lucas Black never looked like he was 18 in Tokyo Drift. I think they did a good job at casting the younger versions of everyone in Fast 9. Like the dude that
Yeah,
played Dom and the dude that played
Yeah.
Jacob, they
that's a
look
good
like
point.
kids. They
I
look
was
like kids.
worried to death that they were gonna do some bullshit
DH Dom.
de-aging bullshit.
Like Disney. Yeah. Like
Yeah,
Disney
I
does
was
Um,
like,
most of their movies.
and with that point, I thought it was cool how the guy that played young Dom kind of looked like Roman Reigns, like a young Roman Reigns. I mean, y'all don't watch wrestling, but
I know
uh,
it.
and then the scene where he races Jacob and he leaves town. In the background, they had a baby Mia, Letty, Vince, and Jesse, and like seeing Vince and Jesse be referenced to outside of the first film just shows how much that Dom or that Vin Diesel actually cares about where they came from,
Yeah.
And then they stuck faithful to all the Kenny Linder stuff because when watching the first one again, I was like, man, I wonder if we'll ever hear about any of this just like old lore stuff ever again. And then
Yeah.
Fast 9 starts off with like flashbacks. I'm like, wow, like they just follow true with all that stuff. And I think it goes to show that like since Tokyo Drift came out, there's really been a difference in like younger age kids playing younger age roles. It's not Spider-Man or anything.
Exactly.
And so I don't know if that just comes from like producers being more aware or what, but I just thought it was cool, you know.
I'm just glad, like, with the whole thing with, casting instead of not doing CGI looks
Hmm.
like a lot of the Marvel movies or Disney Star Wars have done.
There was a soft digital de-aging in the scene with Han and Mr. Nobody to date back to Fast 3. They digitally de-aged Kurt Russell a bit, and they made Han a bit younger too, because Sung Kane's gotten rougher in the face since Tokyo
Yeah.
Drift. So
I didn't notice that.
I noticed it
looked good.
because it looks great. It's almost flawless.
Yeah.
I noticed it because I was reading the credits and just saw digital de-aging artists credited, and then I was like, I had to think back on
Ah.
which scene because
Yeah.
the flashback where Han has to get out of his car and he has his long hair again and everything. They've made his cheeks less rough as they are now, and Kurt Russell's less gray and more smoothed out. But it's not as like stark like as like
It's not like Princess
Nick
Leia in
Fury
Rogue
and
One.
Captain Marvel or something.
Well,
Nick
yeah.
Fury and Captain Marvel though is great, but
Yeah,
Nick
he
Fury
looked
is the
great.
best de-aging I've ever seen.
ever.
Oh yeah, I mean Samuel L. Jackson. I think he was easy to de-age myself.
Yeah,
He's had so much
yeah.
footage.
Because he looks like he's younger anyway, even though he's like in his late 60s, early 70s. I mean,
Yeah.
it's
He does look pretty
amazing.
young.
Yeah.
But
We're gonna talk about the Star Wars reference in the movie.
That was a silly scene.
I thought it went on a little bit too long,
Oh, yeah.
and before like its punchline, because Han's name in Fast and Furious is Han Solo. I thought when Cypher said you're not Han Solo, it would have been the best time to be like, this is Han Solo, and then you put Han in that moment because you're already waiting for him to come back.
As much as they're already doing shit on the nose, you might as well.
Yeah, like because after like you spend like there's that scene where Dom's they're splitting up and they're going different places where that would have been like, no, this is Han Solo, and then bring him in right then because you're already waiting for like 20 minutes once he says we're going to Japan and you're just waiting. Like it would have been the segue, and then it's just a hand in the puppet ass, which doesn't even work anymore because all the Star Wars movies have been re-edited to CGI. So
In The Last Jedi, they use
oh yeah, they did
the
use
original
puppet.
molds
Yeah.
for the
Puppet.
puppets.
You're right. So like
Puppets.
maybe 10% of the Star Wars movies now that people are gonna see.
I don't know. I think that's a Lucas thing personally, or continuity's sake. No, I'm not blaming Lucas for it. I just think that's a Lucas. They just want to keep continuity.
Let's bring in Lucas to direct and write the next Fast
Shit,
movies.
that'd be nuts.
Justin Lin and George Lucas.
Hey, I mean,
I mean, I don't know. What I want man, this is off topic, but I want George Lucas to direct an episode of The Mandalorian. Just,
Yeah.
Fuck it.
Yeah.
Especially let him play around with that new technology they're using. But anyway.
Oh yeah.
Oh, the whole like the rooms. Yeah.
Yeah.
Hey, him and Dave Filoni have gotten so close. I mean,
Yeah, exactly.
I'm surprised they haven't even.
Well, he's been on set a few times.
Yeah.
Mhm.
I can tell that he enjoys going on set of The Mandalorian more than the sequels. But either way,
yeah. It's
Got
off the rails there.
like a few last things here.
yeah.
I think what like I don't know if we talked about it, but I think because they reintroduced which one was it they reintroduced Lucas Black back to, like in the post credit scene?
It,
Was it 6?
What do you mean? Oh,
when Dom goes back to
it's not a post credit
Tokyo.
scene. It's like an
Oh,
actual
right.
scene in the movie. It's
yeah,
I think
but it's so
in-
short.
It's short. I think it's in 6 or 7.
Yeah, because he has to give something back to him, and then he gives.
Yeah.
It's after Han's death, so it has to be. Yeah, it has to be 7.
Yeah.
You're right. I think what I always wanted was like, because I love Tokyo Drift so much, I wanted to see, Lucas Black come back in more capacity,
Yeah.
because they teased him so many other times, and after they made Tokyo Drift, back into the canon with the ending to 6, I was like, yeah, cool. We'll get him back. But I think the reason they never pulled the trigger fully is because they didn't want to just outright replace Paul Walker, and just have like
Yeah.
Lucas Black be Paul or Brian O'Connor part 2. But then having him in like 3 or 4 scenes of Fast 9, and he doesn't even once get to drive a car. I'm like, come on now.
Yeah.
Come on,
No.
that's fair there.
I just feel like, for what it's worth, I think Tokyo Drift and Lucas Black get a little shafted in the universe.
Yeah. Maybe he'll have a bigger role in 10 or 11. Who knows?
They're brought back. I just feel like he's relegated to a comedy act, and there's already so
Yeah.
many comedy acts in the movie.
Because I know he can be a serious actor. I mean,
Yeah.
he's done the NCIS.
Oh, really? Okay.
was-
He's
yeah,
in
he was-
NCIS
He was
as American Gothic as a kid.
and as a kid he was in Sling Blade.
Yeah,
Oh.
Yeah,
he's a
that's
pretty
Lucas-
good actor.
Yeah.
And then like a few, I have a joke point. Like, y'all, how many white shirts do you think Toretto owns?
Yeah, fair. They could make it even more on the nose and have him like open a wardrobe full of like
yeah,
the same outfit.
just white
you
shirts and those like
Yeah.
jeans with the little like crosses on the butt pockets, that he wears.
No, it's or a
Yeah.
hard shirt where he, like John McClane, he's wearing a white shirt, white tank top, and then it turns green.
Yeah,
And then like, yeah, as soon as I saw him wearing the white shirt in this one, I was like, man, again? Okay.
family man, white shirts. Maybe
I mean, it's his cool
maybe-
shirt.
maybe he comes from the same planet or is part of the same master race that like Moist Critical is, where they just wear white shirts and that's it.
Man, I can't
Yeah.
say shit, dude. All I wear is the tracksuit in
Yeah,
videos.
that's literally all you wear.
That's my bull suit.
It's
So,
the recognition.
Yeah.
yeah.
So what are
Well, yeah,
What are
let's get
y'all-
into like final thoughts on like favorite parts, final thoughts kind of thing.
Okay. I guess I'll
So,
go first.
Yeah, go for it.
So, as someone who's new to the Fast and the Furious franchise, I enjoyed it quite a bit,
Mhm.
but mostly for the over the top moments.
Mhm.
Like I was trying to say earlier, that bridge scene was really absurd, but enjoyable. Same with the going into space. I mean, I was going like, oh, that's that is so borderline over the top, but again, it's enjoyable. I don't know. I think I'm starting to really enjoy movies like this, to where I can just have fun with it,
Exactly.
I can criticize all I want about it. In the end, I still had a good time with it. And I'm glad I didn't get lost, having only seen the first 3, as I've said before.
Was Adrian like leaning over to you like in any points that you had to miss, like telling you anything, or
No,
you didn't have any questions?
He didn't tell me he hadn't seen them. until
Oh, it was a
afterwards.
secret.
Yeah.
Yeah, I was a sneaky bastard and tell him until after the movie was over. So, but either way, it was just I really had a good time, and I could follow what was going on even though I hadn't seen it. And like I was telling Adrian earlier, it makes me want to see the other ones. The exact same thing happened when I saw Godzilla versus Kong. I went back, watched Godzilla 2016, then Kong, then King of the Monsters, and I caught up. So
Yeah, well, now you got to go back and watch some of the old ones.
oh yeah, I will.
Yeah,
indeed.
definitely.
And if you
Yeah.
want a guide, I can help you.
You should watch Gigan
I can tell you all the ones that are
and
my
Hedorah.
favorites and all the ones that are like essential for like every cinephile, like different
Exactly.
there are different avenues you can go down with
Just
Godzilla.
get the Criterion box set.
Yeah,
Boy, you already know I got it.
Oh, I know. I'm telling him, like, I'm looking at mine right now.
Yeah. No, it's definitely. I'll definitely watch the
And-
rest. I'll probably rent it on Amazon or something.
And get those new transfers of the Blu-rays of the Godzilla movies.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So,
What are your final thoughts, Sam?
oh, me? I think in the moment, the Fast and the Furious movies are great. And that's just what they should be. I don't think they're meant to just sit here. Like, because the second you think about it, that just falls to shreds, like, logically and everything. But no, they're the, like, preemptive, I guess you can still call them car action movies, like car exploitation movies. Like, outside of a few other movies, like the first Death Race and the first Death Race remake, like, I think the whole of the Fast and Furious movies are like, or Mad Max Tokyo Mad Max Tokyo Drift. There you go, Mad Max Fury Road. I think it's the pinnacle and peak of like car action movies. They're just, you want to see
Yeah.
people do
Yeah.
dumb stuff with cars, and you want to see big sweaty men knock each other out. It's like watching wrestling, I think, at this point. There's just, I already do that like so much every week. So
Yeah.
Yeah.
I wanted to, at least from you, Adrian, because I know it's going to be kind of hard for Fatherly. I mean, I guess y'all both could do it. I wanted to know your, just like trying to eat the camera or something.
Trying to get it to focus again on me.
Yeah.
Oh well.
I wanted to know
Anyway.
your ranking of the franchise.
Okay. Wow.
And we could
I've
ask
only
Alex too.
I've only seen the series once.
Yeah.
Each movie. So I'd like to rewatch them. But
Okay.
when I watched them, I was like, I enjoyed the first one for what it is. It's I like how early 2000s it is.
It's very nostalgic.
But that's more in like the middle of the list for me.
Okay.
And then my least favorite is probably Too Fast, Too Furious. It's kind of like a generic Hollywood sequel, but it introduces Roman, which
Mhm.
I love him. The franchise should be with street racing and stuff, because I didn't know what kind of stuff it would get into after that. So I was like, wow,
Mhm.
I really enjoy this.
Yeah.
The fourth one, I was like, okay, they're bringing back Dom and they're trying to kind of do like a soft reboot / continuation, but that movie suffers because it's disjointed and
Yeah.
it's kind of boring in a few places.
Yeah.
It's the first one that deviates from what it was, and it isn't fully realized what it to be yet.
Yeah, and I was kind of unsure about the franchise at that point. And then I watched the fifth one and I was like, holy fuck, this is a
Mhm.
badass movie. This is a great blockbuster. Holy shit, I love this.
Yeah.
So that right now, before rewatching them, 5 is my favorite. And then 6, I was like, man, I love this one too. And then 7th one, I was like, this is absolutely bonkers shit. And it's James Wan, who is our boy.
My
You know.
favorite boy. Absolutely.
And then 8, I was like, okay, 8's a little bit shakier than the last 3 that I watched, but it's still enjoyable. So I'll continue to enjoy these flicks. So I'd say 5, 7, 6, and 3 are interchangeable to me in enjoyment. Then the original, then 8, then 4, then 2, and then Hobbs and Shaw. To me, I don't have to watch in my rewatch if I don't want to, it's whatever. But
So
Yeah.
5 through 7 and Tokyo Drift are my 4. Like, those are some of my favorite action blockbusters ever.
yeah. For me, I I felt the same way. Like there's a point where it gets some of the action, like the heavier, more bombastic, absurd ones, are much more visually and just visually appealing and entertaining than some of the tighter ones that just have like boring characters or boring
Yeah.
villains.
Yeah.
But then, you know, the nostalgia for having seen the first three so long ago.
No, I'm just getting it to
Yeah.
focus.
Yeah. Oh, there you are. So for me, I'd say Furious 7 because is my favorite because, you know, it has the most heart, you know, at the end of it. And it has some weaker like action stuff in it, but it also has Tony Jaa beating the hell out of, you know, Paul Walker. So that's cool. And it introduces Ramsey and God's Eye. And, you know, it's got cool stuff. Mr.
And
Nobody's introduced in it.
the all the stitching and like CGI and like using Paul Walker's brother.
Yeah, it's
everything
phenomenal.
they did,
It's
everything
phenomenal.
they did to complete his
arc.
journey in that movie is like revolutionary filmmaking.
Yeah.
Mhm.
I think Fury 7 is the one that just has like the most, you know, everyone was working at their top to, you know, make it, you know, good.
Yeah.
And then so, and at 2, I would put the original. It's just, you know, 90s. It's just nostalgic, you know, early 2000s. Just it started it all. You know, it's good local or, you know, localized single story. For 3, I'd put Fast and Furious 6 because it introduces the Shaw brothers, and the Shaw brothers are the best villains that, you know, have been introduced in the films.
Yeah, for sure.
And Luke Evans and Deckard Shaw, Jason Statham are just phenomenal actors both. So, you know, well, you know, for those type roles. I'm not gonna say I'm gonna get a Jason Statham Oscar performance anytime soon, but and then I put Tokyo Drift at 4. You know, we already praised Tokyo Drift enough. I was always a fan of Tokyo Drift, especially when it first came out, and then people were like, "Oh, Tokyo Drift sucks compared to the rest of them. It's not canon."
Yeah,
I'm like,
right.
I've always enjoyed it. And then you get 5 and 6 right now. I think that Hobbs and Shaw and F9 are interchangeable. I think for me, Hobbs and Shaw is a much more concise film. It's overly funny, and but it's, you know, directed by the guy who did Deadpool. So like the action sequences in Hobbs and Shaw are handled way much better than the action sequences in F9, barring the car stuff, like the hand-to-hand combat and weapon fighting.
The hand,
Mm.
yeah,
Like
hand to
the
hand, for
dead
sure.
that stuff in Hobbs and Shaw is so slick. And everything with Brixton is really cool too. Idris Elba, you know, like the whole super spy, super soldier, like indestructible, like, and then they have like the tech cult. Like, I think that's really cool. And F9 falls apart with having way too many, you know, things going on at one point.
Sure.
So 5 and 6, I'd say Hobbs and Shaw, then F9, then Fate of the Furious. It's just not as strong as the other ones. But I like everything about, like I said earlier, the identity of what it means to be your role in a family. And then I put Fast 5 under that. I know it's a sin for you, Adrian. The reason
Yeah.
is Fast 5 doesn't have strong villains. It's just Fast 5 is a very tightly made film. If not, to me, it's just it's boring. Like, not like bad
Whatever.
boring. It's not bad boring. Like, no, there are great moments in it, but it's just too what's the word, like too formulaic for me.
Whatever,
Almost.
dude. That movie, they're on the run and shit from the law. That's and like trying
I'm not
to like
saying it's-
stay out of cover. That's
I'm not
they don't
saying
do
it's a
that
bad
in any
movie.
of the, you know.
It's
Okay,
it's still
whatever.
like, it's out of all like movies I've ever seen, Fast 5 is still like a 75%. It's a good movie. It's a great movie, just in comparative to the rest of the Fast and Furious
Okay.
movies.
I'll go ahead and say, even though I've only seen the first 3 and Fast 9, I will say I do really enjoy Tokyo Drift.
Mhm.
We'll see what happens though when I see the rest of them. But
Yeah.
Yeah, I want to know your ranking after you watch them.
oh,
Yeah.
I will definitely be sharing my ranking with that, because I mean the way I see it is every movie franchise, most of the time there's at least one movie that finally gets things really going.
Mhm.
It's happened with Marvel. It's happened with Star Wars. It's happened obviously with Fast and the Furious. I mean, it's happened like with any giant movie franchise. Harry Potter, even Harry Potter had one with Prisoner of Azkaban. So it's just one of those deals that there's going to be at least one movie in there that's going to stand out to me the most.
Mhm.
So
Yeah.
I'll
Well,
let
it
you
was
guys.
just it's just wild to me that like they
Yeah.
were able to successfully revitalize the series so late into the saga and like
And then
have
they keep
have
turning
most
it
of
over.
have most of my favorite ones be like some of the later ones is wild to me.
Yeah.
You know?
Mhm. Yeah, because
so-
I'd go back to and say like the bottom two for me would be Too Fast and Fast 4 as well.
Yeah.
Because Too Fast for me, it takes 50 minutes before Brian and Roman finally meet the bad guy, and then you have 45 minutes of it just ending. The ending is great. Like Too Fast has a really fun ending, but it's just so boring throughout. And then Fast 4, like we said, just has that problem of that's the first one breaking into a new identity, and it's just like Braga is a cool villain, but it's just kind of middling, you know.
Yeah.
So, what would you say for y'all? Where does Fast 9 rank in your list of films from 2021?
Shoot. Well, personally, this is a controversial take, but my favorite movie of the summer so far, I wouldn't say 2021, but like I really enjoyed Conjuring 3, and a lot of people are split on it, and I fucking loved it. So right now, Fast 9 is more enjoyable than a lot of movies I've seen lately, but not the best. I'd say in the top like 33% of like
Yeah.
enjoyable flicks.
For me, I've seen it looks like 16 movies from this year, and I've got Fast 9 at 7th. It's right
Okay.
after it's right under Nobody, which I've seen 3 times now, which is
Wow.
just really tightly made and really fun.
Oh yeah,
you know,
it really is.
lighter style John Wick, so more, not, I wouldn't say more enjoyable, but it's easy to enjoy.
Oh yeah.
And then I would say F9 is sitting right above The Conjuring 3 for me. So,
Okay.
but like
yeah, go ahead.
I was gonna say, like my favorite from the year have been Spiral from the Book of Saw, because my favorite
That's you.
franchise.
That's your thing.
That's me. And then Godzilla versus Kong, Zack Snyder's Justice League, Army of the Dead, In the Heights, and then you get Nobody and all that. In the Heights is really good.
I don't know
but-
I don't know the most enjoyable movie for me so far. I can't decide.
Mhm.
You would think, oh, Adrian, it's obviously Godzilla. I don't know. We'll see.
Yeah, we'll see. Okay, so I think in terms of movies I've seen so far this year, Fast 9, it was still entertaining, so I put it right below. I liked Godzilla versus Kong just a little bit more, but Fast 9 I enjoyed it as well, so I'll put it right below it. But in terms of movies that are better, or at least I felt were a little just I enjoyed more, was I think Nobody's definitely higher, and Quiet Place is a little bit below Nobody. So
Okay.
Quiet Place Part 2.
Yeah.
I feel like, have I not? Wait, why is that not on my list? Oh, the website I'm using ranks it as a 2020 film because of the delay. So yeah, no, I mean that's.
Wouldn't it do that to this too? Because this was another delay. Also, it's weird. All the big movies I've seen this summer were supposed to be out last year. It's like, whoa.
Yeah,
that's same with Black Widow coming up. I mean,
Black Widow, yeah.
Yeah,
Conjuring, Fast and Furious, Jungle Cruise. What else is coming out?
and the new
No Time to
Die.
Oh yeah. That's not this summer, right?
No, that's November.
The start
December.
of winter.
Yeah.
And unless it keeps
come
getting
out.
delayed.
Yeah.
April of last year.
God, well, they just released the fucking movie. Come on, guys.
Have y'all seen the new trailer for Halloween Kills?
Yeah, it looked interesting.
The references to the season of the witch and the original.
It's
I
nice.
saw that. That was nice. Yeah, I enjoyed that trailer.
Doesn't make sense though. How's it going to reference the third movie if it's supposed to take place after the first movie?
Well, it's just Mask, man.
I know.
It's just a reference. Yeah, it's just a reference for us, I guess.
Because I think isn't a season of the witch supposed to be it's not really in continuity.
It's outside of the Michael Myers universe anyway, because it shows it on TV in the movie.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Which is bizarre. So at that rate, if we were to rank Quiet Place, I'd put it in my third slot of the year, right before Justice League, after Godzilla versus Kong.
Yeah.
I was just thinking about that. I was like, why is Flickchart like this?
Anyway, that's our review of Fast 9, F9, Fast and Furious 9, The Fast and the Furious 9,
the Fast Saga, the
Fast
entry.
Saga, ninth entry installments.
Something,
10th installment.
something
Oh.
fast.
That's another thing. Before we quickly leave, they've never said the word furious in any of the Fast and Furious movies. Not once. They'll say fast. They'll say fast all the time. I'm finally waiting because, like, in this one, when they're planning their attack, Han says, "How do you want to play it?" And Toretto's like, "Fast." I want one of them to say, "How do you want to play it?" And someone just says, "Furious." You know, like, it's just right now, it's just the Fast movies. There's no Furious part.
Something fast.
Yeah. It's a fucking
Anyway.
Family Guy spinoff coming soon.
Anyway, thanks for watching, guys. Next episode, I don't know what the next episode would be. I want to do Zola, but I'm not going to do Zola without a woman on this podcast.
Hey, could we do
That would be stupid.
could we do a Bollywood podcast? Best Bollywood